Welcome to TICE. Today I have with me Mr. K.C. Aiyappa. He is the CBO at Anumati. Welcome, Mr. Aiyappa.
Thank you.
So, to begin with the conversation, we are sitting at the 6th conclave of DLAI. What do you think, how these platforms and how these gatherings really add value to the industry?
Okay. So DLAI has been doing this for a while, and hats off to them for the way they have brought the entire ecosystem of digital lenders together. I've been attending this over the last few years, and what I've found is, a lot of the people come here to learn how everybody else is leveraging the ecosystem, right? Within the regulations, how can one learn from the other to perform better and have, this ecosystem grow responsibly. I think that is something that DLAI has done phenomenally well over the last few years.
All right. So, can you also tell me, what is Anumati all about and what type of products do you offer to the FinTech industry?
Okay. So the Anumati is the brand name under which we operate. The company is called Perfios Account Aggregation Services. We are a RBI license holder to provide account aggregation services to the end customer. And we operate in the area of consent management. We are called a consent manager. And from that, you get the idea of why Anumati. Right? So we operate under the brand name of Anumati.
Okay, so you allow for the Anumati.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right? Account aggregation is in the space of consented financial data transfer. And that is what we enable end customers to do, to give you control over your own data. And that's the idea behind the account aggregation framework.
To just simplify it, can you brief my audience what is this concept of account aggregator?
Today we live in a world of privacy, right? And everything is about consent. Now, the way you want to look at it is to say that, okay, I as a user want to give my data to somebody because I want to get a particular kind of service. Now, in the past, the way this has worked is if I wanted a loan, I would be giving bank statements. I'd be trying to download it from a bank website, or I'd be going to the branch and trying all of these different things. Now, what happens after that? What happens to my bank statement after I've closed the loan? Nobody knows, right? And hence, I think the idea of privacy plays a big role here when I say, okay, I want to have some sort of control over my data, right? And financial data is the most private.
Right.
So the concept of account aggregator is that we are creating an ecosystem where an end citizen like you and me, what we call the data principal, has control over his data, who he is giving to, for what service, and it is restricted to that. And over, if there is any misuse, there is a chance of recourse, right? And if you look at how the entire ecosystem is growing, the government is coming out with the data privacy laws, the digital data privacy laws and all of that, the consent manager will play a very crucial role over here in being able to control that ecosystem in terms of the end citizen.
All right. So basically, you have customers from the FinTech industry.
Yes.
Okay. So since you operate B2B, how FinTech companies really use this particular concept?
Okay. So I would classify myself as a B2B2C company, right? The way the RBI charter has been built is I am for the end citizen, right? I am here to enable people like you and me to be able to give their bank statement or any other financials to avail a particular service. Now, the way the account aggregation system works is that using my consent, the data flows directly from the core banking systems or the core systems of where I keep my data, right? That could be a bank, that could be a security system, that could be, insurance, all of these things. Now, you as, let's say, a FinTech company want to use this data and provide a service. Okay? What is happening today is, or what was happening traditionally is, you collect that data and you digitize that data and you figure out a way to consume that data. What we have done is the AI ecosystem bridges that gap and says, I will give you consented data, but I will give it to you directly from the core banking systems. And what that will end up doing is give you clear data, authentic data, uncorrupted data, which you don't need to run any fraud checks on, right? So it takes away the component of fraud check because it's coming from the core systems. It is uncorrupted, so nobody has edited it, nobody has done anything around it, and the entire cycle runs in less than a minute, right? From raising the consent to you receiving the data. So DIY journeys have become that much more quicker, faster, and right, it's truly real time, to put it right shortly, right? And that's the convenience it brings to fintechs.
Right. And if we talk from the customer point of view, from the generic public point of view, what is the benefit of this concept for them? Like how they can leverage account aggregation?
See, to understand that, you want to be able to take a step back and think about the convenience that a UPI has brought you. Today, you can pretty much go on travel without carrying any liquid cash, right? So, the idea of control is what the end citizen is looking at. He wants control over his money, he wants control over his data. And the way the UPI works is similar to the way the account aggregator works. Right? Now you want to avail a service. You want to avail a service that will give you control over that data. Right? Now what a fintech or an NBFC or a bank will do is they will raise a consent request that comes to me. I will give that, showcase that consent to the end citizen and say, hey, look, you're trying to raise avail a service from a particular organization, and they want consent to use your data. And the consent artifact clearly calls out exactly what the data is going to be used for, how much of data they're going to use, how long they're going to keep the data. And all of this happens in 3 steps. The user is authenticated using an OTP today. I link the bank accounts using his phone number, identify and link. Post that, I take a consent for that particular requirement of data, right? So the customer, the end citizen, is completely aware of what his data he's giving, what he's giving it for, and what is going to happen with that data. Right? And I think that is the biggest advantage of the account aggregator framework from an end citizen point of view. And we encourage not just the institutions, but even citizens to choose the account aggregator framework when they're availing these services, because it's very, very responsible, safe, encrypted data formats.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Aiyappa, for simplifying this new concept of account aggregation for our viewers. Thank you so much for your insightful conversation.
Thank you for having me.